picking up questions. Kathy, have you collected some?
If anybody wants some cards, just raise your hand.
Come on, somebody's got to have a question.
When we get opening statements. Yeah.
Okay, but you got to put the questions on the card and you can't shout them, okay? Okay, so I'll introduce, like I said, Brian, and these guys go back and forth. Brian will introduce himself first, then Sami. Then the first chance at the first question will be Brian. Then back to Sami, second question, then Sami's up first. Understand? You guys got it?
Yep.
Take it away, Brian.
Okay, my name is Brian Johnson, and I'm running for Pima County Treasurer. And the County Treasurer is one of the 6 countywide roll officers, and the Treasurer has 2 primary responsibilities. That being the tax collector, which is a boo for most people, and banker, okay? And the Treasurer's essential duties, though, are established in the Arizona Constitution and the Arizona Revised Statutes. But what distinguishes me as a candidate is that I have, the vision that I have for executing those responsibilities. And I want to basically just briefly tell you that those 3 principles that are the basis of my campaign and what I will do as treasurer. And that's focused on prosperity, accountability, and accessibility. And with prosperity, what many people don't realize is that as the tax collector, you know, the treasurer gets all the taxes, property taxes, in big chunks twice a year, right? But it's distributed to all the taxing districts like the schools and the fire districts and so on throughout the year. So that money just doesn't sit there. So we have investments, okay? So the treasurer is responsible for investment. Now, in terms of prosperity, that is one of my major goals, is that we have a Pima County Board of Supervisors give the treasurers basically a policy, one they haven't had since 1995, for investments, and that's going to be based on our prosperity initiative, the county's prosperity initiative. And I want to make that accountable as well, and that information accessible. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sami Hamed. I'm running for Pima County Treasurer. I'm running because we've got to win this office, turn it from red to blue. It hasn't been blue in God knows how many years, and it's time to do it, and we're on the cusp of doing that. As County Treasurer, there's a few things I want to work on and do. I want to work on to stop and prevent delinquent tax foreclosures. Defaults are coming on the rise. People are losing their homes because of the taxes, as we know. It affects anybody and everybody, whether it's seniors or not, hardworking class people. We can work and stop that. No one should lose their home whatsoever, because the treasurer does the delinquent tax for auctions, and let's work to stop that. 2, if I'm elected, I want to make the office more accessible and mostly more customer service friendly to the public. It's not right now, and we can do that. We can do that, actually. And 3, my other key point I want to do is working as treasurer is I want to make sure, this is one little thing that hasn't been said and it needs to be noted. As treasurer, we handle the finances in which we give the money to pay for one group of people here in this county that people don't talk about: the school districts, the teachers, the employees of school districts. We give that money to school superintendents, so the school superintendent's office can do the payroll for districts, with the exception of Tucson Unified and Sunnyside, so those people can get paid. If we're not getting the money done on time to the superintendent's office, I don't want to have a hell of a lot of pissed off teachers knocking on my door saying, "Where's my paycheck at? Where's the money for that?" And that's one thing I want to work on and make sure we do better at that and keep doing that, because we don't need people who work very hard so they can get paid. I bring a background of leadership. I have a vision of leadership as well. I just don't have it as working. Is this working? But I've worked and led. I currently sit on the Pima County Merit Commission, where I hear appeals of county employees who are being disciplined and terminated. So I understand that. Prior to that, I sat for 6 years on the School for the Deaf and Blind Board of Directors. I was appointed by former Governor John Napolitano, where I helped oversaw a $30 million budget. And I also chaired their finance committee, which oversaw their investments since they're a land grant institution, one of the few in the state. as well as the University of Arizona as one, as you know.
Sammy,
We get time. We're getting close to time.
we're at that
You're
time.
done.
Oh, I'm done. Okay, then thanks. We'll talk. I want to hear more from your Q&A, guys. I'll explain more then.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, so prepare your questions and then raise your hand so that they can be all picked up as well. And do we have pens too? Oh, good. All right. We have the first question. Please go back. All right, thank you. So the first question, I'll start with Brian.
Okay.
And you have 1 minute. And then when you're finished, Andy will let you know, and then the microphone will be turned to Sammy. Then the second question, Sammy will start, and then you'll do you'll wrap it up. So everyone can have the time to be first and last. First question. Have there been problems with the delivery of teacher pay?
Okay, so this is 2024. I started working at Pima County in 2006. And I know there have been things going on even before then. So I never missed a paycheck, not once, when I worked for Pima County, from the treasurer's office, not once, okay? Now, let's face it, in 2024, how many of you have direct deposit, automatic withdrawal? So all of these recurring type of transactions, of course, have been automated for years. And I don't think that there's ever been a situation where the teachers have never gotten their pay. I mean, it's just the way the systems are designed. It's the software that runs it, and the teachers get their pay direct deposited every other week, just like I did when I was a county employee.
Thank you. Sammy?
There hasn't been a problem with teachers not being paid. They have been, but there has been some issues here and there when it comes to audits of the financial aspect of that for the school superintendent's office. But in order to avoid that problem from ever occurring, that requires collaboration, working with the school superintendent's office. I know Justin Williams. He's a good friend. I will work with him and his chief financial officer if elected, and my staff if I'm elected to do that to get done. But to get that done, that requires trust and reliability. I'm going to trust and rely on the staff of the treasurer's office, as well as in collaborating and working with the school superintendent's office to make sure that never becomes an issue or a problem.
Thank you. The second question. What do you think are the 3 top challenges of the treasurer's office? And we'll begin with Sammy.
First challenge, I think, is retaining employees. The office has had a hard time retaining county employees for the treasurer's office. That's one thing I would work on, because you need to have the employees to get the job done. They provide a crucial and essential service to the taxpayers of Pima County. The second one would be is getting out information to the public. It has not been done at all. You don't hear any information about what they're doing or what they're working on. You don't see an annual report at all to the Board of Supervisors or even to the public at all. And that's one thing I would implement as county treasurer in my first year. And the third challenge I think you see is it's regarding when you pay your property taxes. You can either pay them in person or online. You pay them online, you pay a small fee. As the treasurer, I get to negotiate that fee with the banks and the credit card companies. And that's one thing I work on to minimize that as much as possible so it doesn't take more out of you, the taxpayer's pocket.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, I see one of the biggest challenges now I agree about the information. I agree with Mr. Hamed about that. I also agree about retaining employees. And as having been very active in the union, SCIU, as a county employee, I understand where a lot of the problems are. And one of the biggest problems is that for years, nobody has thought about creating career paths. And that is the way that we're going to need to go and retain employees in the long run. So I do have a plan on creating that and getting rid of what we call these at-will employees, these unclassified employees. But I think one of the biggest challenges is actively making the Treasurer's Office active in the community and by giving it with its investment policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 3, and we'll begin with Brian. How can tax foreclosures be stopped?
Okay, so let's put this into perspective, okay? There are, and the foreclosures are only on real property. There's also personal property taxes, so we're only talking about real property. So there are 430-something thousand parcels of real property that in Pima County. Now, last year in 2023, there were 10 foreclosures out of that many, okay? I don't see it as a problem. And I can tell you because for the last 3 years, I've also had the opportunity to sit on the State Board of Equalization, which hears property tax appeals. Basically appealing, you can only appeal the value or the classification of the property. But in doing so, I heard a number of these people. Last year, I can remember 2 of them who came to me and their property was really worthless. And that's why they were appealing it. They didn't do their due diligence. I don't see the foreclosures from property taxes as a problem at all.
So to answer this question here, let me just look at it one more time. I'm sorry. Okay, how to stop tax foreclosures, actually. My opponent said there's only 10 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 10 too many. Even 1 is just 1 too many, as far as I'm concerned. Like I said in my opening statement, I'll say it here. You work hard to get your home, to own it. You know, you should never lose it just because of that. But it doesn't come down to the bureaucratic process of trying to appeal it. What it comes down to is, and I'm like the treasurer, putting a customer service department, beefing it up, recreating, whatever I have to do, build it up from the ground up, to work and reach out to the top property taxpayers who are delinquent. Instead of just sending a letter, which the department does, I'd rather put in a staff member that can reach out to property tax owner A, B, or C, whoever they may be, and saying, what's going on? We see you're delinquent. How can we assist you? Well, my proposal would be, as county treasurer, is to work with the Arizona State Housing Affordability Trust Fund, which they provide money for things like that if you're behind on your mortgage, but also behind on your property taxes as well. We could do that. Governor Hobbs has made that a priority and put money in her last budget into that, and we could do that. So that's what I would do, and that's where it comes down to the service and accessibility to the public. How I beef that up and change that, make it for the better.
Thank you. Question number 4, and we'll begin with Sami. How are unpaid property taxes paid if there is no predictable foreclosure?
Well, right now, if they're not paid, they're obviously not paid, but eventually after time they go to a tax foreclosure auction, and the person that buys that tax lien, if you will, they pay those property taxes on there. Now, after that's done, the owner of the property who hasn't paid the property tax, who has a lien on their property, has up to 3 years to make that whole and correct it. Some people can do it, a lot of people can't, as you will. And after 3 years, if they don't pay it, the property deed, it goes to the new owner of the property who paid those delinquent taxes, unfortunately.
Okay, so let me explain the process a little bit. So if you're delinquent after 2 years, then the treasurer can auction off the lien. You know, the taxes are a lien on your property as of January 1st every year. They auction off the lien, not for the amount, because that amount is that they go, what they're auctioning off is actually the interest rate. And then they do have 3 years after that to make good. Now, the good savvy investors who do this, they know, and they usually get their properties. And like I said, very rarely does it ever go to foreclosure, but usually there is a reason why somebody walked away from that property in the first place. And the treasurer really doesn't have a lot of authority to go and really do anything about it, because once that lien is on the property. It's the property that owes the taxes, not an individual. Just so you're aware of that legal aspect of it.
Thank you. Question 5 will begin with Brian. Would you work to lower property taxes?
Well, I couldn't do a thing about that, okay? The treasurer has absolutely nothing to do with property taxes. Essentially, the way property taxes are done is this, okay? You have, it's an ad valorem tax based on the value. The assessor's office puts the value on the property. When they transmit those values to the clerk of the board for the upcoming budget year, then all the taxing jurisdictions, school boards, the county, community college, everything, they go and they make a budget and they say this is how much money we need, and there are limitations on that, whatever. So they set a rate based on their need, and that rate is applied to that, and then the tax roll is built, and then the treasurer collects the taxes, and the treasurer has nothing to do about making your property taxes.
If I could lower the tax rate, believe me, I'd be one heck of a popular guy. No, I don't get to increase or lower your taxes if I'm elected treasurer. But, I'm looking at Vanessa here. If she and 2 other members of the county board of supervisors decide to lower taxes, hey, I think that's awesome that they could do that, because the county board of supervisors does set the assessed property tax rate, if you will. They determine whether taxes will go up or go down at all. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but you know what? I would hope she's 1 vote. Help me find 2 more to get that done, guys.
Was that the last question? I think, let's have one more question. Who does the Pima County Treasurer answer to? And that would be Sami.
Pima County Treasurer answers to you, but they also work in cooperation with the Board of Supervisors, with the County Administrator's Office, with the other row officers, the County School Superintendent, the County Assessor, and as well as the County Recorder. So ultimately, you are our bosses. You hold us accountable if one of us is elected. That's who we answer to ultimately. You the people, you the voters of Pima County.
Thank you. Brian.
Okay, so there really isn't any accountability except to get reelected or to get elected, right? So there really isn't any firm accountability. What I would like to see in there, for example, are policies, like the investment policies. I mean, we're investing at any given time anywhere between $1.1 and $1.5 billion that is actually invested of your money. And where we invest it, I think, is an important issue. Okay? So I'm all for investing in that Pima County policy called the Prosperity Initiative. And that's where we should be aligning our money, not giving it to companies like now we have $3.9 million that is being invested in Chevron, a polluter, a fossil fuel company. So my essential thing is let's make it accountable. Let's have the Board of Supervisors make an investment policy and make the treasurer do quarterly reports. That is some accountability right there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to go to Sami for a 2-minute closing, because Brian, you began with your opening. So now it's to Sami for a 2-minute closing statement.
Do me a favor, John. When I get to 30 seconds, just say the number 30 if you wouldn't mind. I appreciate it. I can't see the clock for him, man.
Okay, I'll just say 30.
That's perfect. Thank you. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time this morning and allowing for me to speak to you all and you to hear from you. You're going to be electing a leader to lead this department, the Pima County Treasurer's Office. I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm not a micromanager. I'm a leader. Part of being a leader, I trust and rely on the staff who are going to help me do the work. I need them to get the job done. I'm going to be there getting it done with them. I bring the leadership to it. It shows. I'm going to announce an endorsement I just got 2 days ago that I haven't publicly announced. The Pima Area Labor Federation endorsed me in this race. So I have the backing of the men and women, the brothers and sisters of organized labor. That tells you a lot right there, which includes their union, the AFSCME, which is a member of the PELF. I ask you to vote for a leader who has the vision to get the job done and willing to work hard and work with the public to make this better for the public. I work for no one but you if I'm elected county treasurer. It's not what I want to do, it's what you want done. I want to hear from you. I want to reach out to you. I want to work with you as a public. We can get this done. We can change our investment policies for the better. We can work to stop these foreclosures, even if it's 1, 10, or how many it may be. We can do that. We can make this office better for the public as a whole and work for the people and not just be the tax collector, money in, money going in, money going out. For the better, we can do that. And I ask you to join me in this campaign and do that. And I ask for your vote when ballots go out July 2nd. The primary is July 30th. I ask for your vote, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to learn more about me or anything like that, or if you'd like to give money, that's always helpful in a campaign, you can go to my website, voteforsammyfortreasurer.com. I'm sorry, votesammyfortreasurer.com is my website with the number 4. Votesammyfortreasurer.com. So I thank you very much. I thank you, Pat. I thank you, the members of the Tanque Verde Dems Board of Directors as well. And, of course, my friend Lucy Messing for extending the invite on behalf of Tanque Verde Valley Dems. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to learning and hearing more from you as well.
Thank you. Brian.
Okay, so the Treasurer's Office has been in Republican hands for well over 50 years. It is the only county-wide role officer that has been consistently Republican, and that needs to change, okay? I have a plan with prosperity in terms of investing our money, holding the treasurer accountable, and with accessibility to information and creating basically a citizen engagement team. So I have a plan to get that done. So, and I also have the experience, and I worked in the county finance, and I'm very knowledgeable of property tax and the laws and what goes around it, because I worked in property tax litigation for 5 years for the county. So I understand all of the issues there. So I'm asking for your support monetarily. You can, I do have envelopes with me if you want to give a donation. I have an Act Blue account which you can donate to, and you can also donate at www.johnson4pctreasurer.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Thank you.